Hi, everyone. Welcome to our presentation for Vanderbilt School of Medicine. I'm going to introduce Jennifer Kimball, who's our Director of Admissions, who's going to present to us today.
Thank you so much for offering me the opportunity to meet with y'all. Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Kimball. I'm the Director of Admissions for Vanderbilt University School of Medicine. Thank you all so much for coming to my talk today. Just to let you know, in my former life, I was the Director of Pre-Health Advising at Georgia State, Emory, and Georgia Tech. I was a pre-health advisor for about 14 years or so before getting recruited to head of admissions here at Vanderbilt. So I absolutely love getting to talk with pre-health students. It is like the highlight of my day. So I'm really excited about meeting with you all today. So the format for this is I'm going to just wow you with everything there is to know about Vanderbilt School of Medicine, talk about the curriculum. Then I'm going to tell you all a little bit about what it's like for the admissions process and become very transparent with you about that. And then I'm going to just open the floor to sort of an AMA format. I know a lot of you probably hear things around town about what med school officers are looking for in the admissions process, or, hey, I heard X, Y, and Z about admissions. And I really want you to feel comfortable kind of having a safe space to ask those questions of somebody who does this for a living. So let me start with my presentation. Okay, thank you. So whenever I do a talk with Braille students, I always like to start off with a photo from White Coat, because you're feeling a lot of things right now being a pre-health student, and I like to manifest some white coat energy on you. Here at Vanderbilt, we white coat you the first week of class because we put you in the clinics right away. So here's some white coat energy on you that you will do just fine getting to your goal. So let me tell you a little bit about what Vanderbilt is. So we are a top research medical school. We paint the word research with a very broad brush here, so I'll explain that in a little bit more detail in a minute. Because we're a private medical school, we're able to accept students from all over the nation, all over the globe. So it's a very diverse class that you have here. And for any of our international students or DACA students on the call, we don't pay any attention to your citizenry as an applicant here at Vanderbilt. Because we are very innovative, our curriculum is very unique. We've actually helped other medical schools emulate our curriculum. Once again, I'll tell you about the curriculum in a second. And we're kind of known as being sort of a nice medical school, which I think there are probably worse things that you could be called, right? Because we live in Nashville, we're sort of a destination city. A lot of people make it a point to come to Nashville. Tourism is very big here. So if you've never been to Nashville before, it's very easy to get a certain perception of what Vanderbilt or Nashville is like. I'm here to tell you that we've got an amazing food scene. Yes, it is warm here in the summer, but the nice thing about our weather here in the South is that you get to be outside for a long period of time. Today, I think it's like 70 degrees outside. So let me tell you a little bit about some of our rich traditions. First and foremost, we were founded in 1875, so we're about to have our 150th birthday. But what I love about Vanderbilt is that we don't just cling on to past traditions and go, this is how we do it at Vanderbilt. The only thing constant here at Vanderbilt is change. Speaking of which, we received a grant to accelerate the change in medicine about 12 years ago, and this is what we came up with, Curriculum 2.0. We call it Curriculum 2.0 because much like your phone operating system goes from version 2.0 to 2.2 to 2.4, it's constantly evolving. That way there's not a major change, as is our curriculum. So with Curriculum 2.0, it is a pass-fail curriculum your first years of medical school. P equals MD, pass equals medical degree, which is really nice because instead of you becoming laser focused on making an A in this class, you're learning to learn for learning's sake, which is really nice. We focus in on putting educators in medicine in front of you through our Master Clinical Teacher program, meaning the psychiatry that you'll rotate through will be taught by somebody who has additional teaching credentials to be a master teacher, not just a great psychiatrist, but also a great teacher. A couple of other things on the slide just to highlight. We have a variety of different learning modalities. In my former life, before we got to graduate school, I taught 7th grade. My students learned in different ways. They were able to show their knowledge in different ways. Some students didn't do so great on multiple choice, but did great on essays. That's kind of how we assess your learning here at Vanderbilt in different modalities. And we also have a really great way to kind of focus in on your licensing exams, i.e. the step 1, step 2 of the United States medical licensing exam. So what does this look like in a day-to-day life for you? As an M1, you are going to go through the top bar, which is our systems-based approach to medicine. You start off big with human blueprint and architecture and work your way through to the central nervous system. The bottom left-hand corner shows you what a sample week might look like in your life. So as you see here, you don't see 8 to 5 sitting in a large lecture room. We have small case-based learning experiences for you, where there'll be about 8 students with a faculty mentor. You'll diagnose and come up with a treatment plan for your patient that you're given in your case-based learning. Your large group, medium, or group labs are going to be like your anatomy lab. You might go into a pathology lab to look at diseased organs, things of that nature. We also have a light tan box that says self-directed learning. That is protected study time during your day hours, which is really nice because this is going to be the time that you and your classmates might go into an empty classroom here in our building and write all over the whiteboards and stuff, or you go out for a run because it's a beautiful day outside, or you go to your favorite coffee shop and study. You get to do whatever you want to do during those self-directed learning times. And then the darker tan boxes are the foundations of physician responsibility. And what does this look like for you? Well, that's going to be the box on the right. So your foundations of physician responsibility teaches you team collaboration, how to work in a medical team with nurses who are at the top of their nursing game, pharmacists who are at the top of their pharmacy game, medical social workers who are at the top of their game, where you all come together to provide the best patient outcomes as you can. Patient care is just that. Those are going to be your clinics that you go to that either support what you're learning about in the curriculum, or it's going to be a clinic that you go to learn doctoring, if you will. So that's where you learn how to do a history and a physical. That's where you learn how to chart. That's where you learn how to make referrals, that kind of thing. Self-development is just that. So that is where you're going to learn how to be the best physician you can be, how to process the things that you're seeing in your clinical rotations and experiences, how to be a leader among leaders, those kind of skill sets. And then systems engagement is going to be where you are learning about all the new systems in medicine, electronic medical records. You're learning about computer-aided technology in the surgical suites, things like that. The sort of arms that kind of encompasses everything in the foundations of physician responsibility is going to be health equity. That is embedded into everything we do during your 4 years of medical school. And informatics, AI. In case you haven't heard, artificial intelligence is here. You are going to see it on a daily basis in medicine. And so we teach you how to become very comfortable with that now. So that way, when you are a physician, you are not fearful of AI. You can lean on some of those tools in your doctor's bag as a physician. So at the end of your first year, you are well prepared to start your core clerkships, foundations of clinical care. That's when you are basically living the life of somebody in psychiatry or general medicine or surgery, OB-GYN, whatever you're rotating through. You'll also have some elective time in there. So, hey, I think I might want to do oncology. What does that look like? You can rotate through those. So ideally, at the end of your second year, you either know what you want to be when you grow up, or maybe you don't know what you want to be, but you have some ideas of things that are kind of interesting to you. Because your third and fourth year is your immersion phase in the curriculum, and it's kind of like a choose your own adventure book. You get to immerse yourself in what you're truly passionate about. So here are 2 examples for you. Excuse me. Student 1 knew after second year she wanted to go into emergency medicine. She picked advanced clinical electives that really supported that decision for her. And this is what her course trajectory looked like her third and fourth year. The second student kind of across the board liked everything, but just couldn't really find her passion. And after counseling and stuff, we learned that she was interested in more of the visual parts of medicine. So we had her rotate through derm and path and cardiology until she stumbled upon radiology, and that was the one that clicked, and those were the classes that she took. At the end of the day, both of these students walked across the stage with their Vanderbilt D degree, but as you can see here, they were able to take classes that were of interest for them. This also helps out our students as they start to prepare for residency, because it gives you more time to strengthen that skill set to get into some of the more competitive residencies. What does this look like in real time? Each one of our classes during the 3rd and 4th year are 1 month long. You have flex months baked into your curriculum. These months you can do with them as you wish. Here in this example, they're kind of a little bit more heavy for the 4th year. The reason why is this example is for somebody who's going into a more competitive residency program, where we wanted her to have more flexibility during residency interviews. You'll also see 3 months of a research immersion. The nice thing about Vanderbilt is that for research, you can do this in anything you want to do. And during your research phase, you're not trying to balance, your patients and learning this new subject matter altogether. Like, you're able to really just focus in on your research. The other nice thing about the research phase in the curriculum here at Vanderbilt is that you don't have to try to shove it into your first year of medical school. Like, we want your first year of medical school to be your opportunity to learn your new identity as a medical student and stuff, not trying to take on the world by also adding research onto a pretty challenging first year of medical school, and that transition from your pre-med identity to your med school identity. As you can see here, there's lots of different areas you can do your research in. Vanderbilt is all on the same campus. So the medical center, the hospital, the medical school, the law school, business school, we're all within, like, just walking across campus sort of thing. So it allows you to do your research in other colleges if you're so inclined. For people who are really passionate about research, we do have an MD PhD program. In a few minutes, I'm going to tell y'all what makes you competitive for medical school. The same things apply to the MD PhD program, except for 2 main points. One is a lot of our students have really strong independent research experience, and they also have letters of evaluation that are very compelling for an MD PhD program. We do have students that will apply to the MD PhD program as a first-year MD student, but like I said, most of our students will come to us directly through the MD PhD application process. If you are trying to figure out what to do this summer, I do encourage you to look at maybe coming to our Vanderbilt Summer Science Academy. You can just Google that phrase and see what kind of research opportunities are available for you for that. The other program that we have here that is really attractive is our MIDP program, and that's for our folks that are interested in doing medical device design, medical entrepreneurship, things of that nature. And so we are in collaboration with our engineering school, our business school, our law school for like patent law, to help students who want to use their medical degree to basically create devices and put those into market. The nice thing about the MIDP program is that you will apply for it as an MD student here, so you don't have to get into a cohort when you're trying to get into the ND Med for admissions right away. There we go. So let me tell y'all a little bit about kind of our culture of caring. As I mentioned, we're kind of known for being, I knew that's going to happen, being the nice medical school. One of the ways that we do that is by breaking up into colleges. So instead of it being, hey, here are just a few students and we're just going to have fun together, there's also a curricular component to it. So you might have seen on the curriculum slides like LC, those are your learning communities. And that's your opportunity to kind of digest medicine with sort of a smaller environment, sort of like your family, the people kind of have your back. So one of the first things you do as you establish your college and you're in it is you come up with like your college house rules and stuff. So it allows a safe space to have some of those difficult conversations. In your college, you'll have a big a year ahead of you. Then it allows you to have a grand big, great grand big. So you have like a big family that, you know, if you're a first year medical student trying to figure out like, how do people just know where to apply for residency? You can text your great grand big and just say like, hey, can we get some coffee? I'm curious about how you know where to apply for residency, and y'all can sit down and kind of learn a little bit more about it. So it's a very supportive place to be for your medical training. We also have a very strong commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion here at Vanderbilt. Here are some student organizations that we have. New ones are always coming up, and some of the programming that we have to offer for you. Basically, our students are supported through our Office for Diversity Affairs. During Second Look weekend, they have the opportunity to really connect with our leadership over there for mentorship and things of that nature. Students will often ask me, where do our students go for residency? And I know this sounds really snotty to say, but like they go wherever they want to go. Like they go to Vanderbilt for med school, like they go wherever they want. Some of our students want to go up to the Northeast for residency. Some students want to move closer to home. Some of our students want to move further away from home. Some of our students want to specialize. Some want to go into like family medicine. They go to whatever they want to go into here at Vanderbilt. So let me tell you a little bit about Vandy and the admissions process. So we are housed in Eskin Biomedical Library. As a med student here, you'll have 24/7 access to this building through swipe access. We have a student lounge for you to like heat up your leftovers and secure eggs and all that good stuff. We also have quiet rooms for you. We also have mindful meditation prayer rooms for you. But this is where the bulk of your first year of medical school will be housed. All right, so let's anchor down and talk about the admissions process. So first and foremost, we moved away from quote unquote prerequisites and moved to recommendations. The reason for this is all of y'all have a different journey to our front door. And so for some of our students that are non-traditional, maybe they, were biomedical engineers and they were in engineering for a long time and stuff. And in their curriculum, they took, systems physiology and whatnot. And they know this stuff and they're doing well in their MCAT prep and stuff. We're not going to make them go back and take biology 1 and biology 2 just for some sort of checklist. Okay. What I always tell pre-med students is take whatever classes your pre-med advisor tells you to take, and we will be fine with it. So here's a typical funnel of what our admissions process looks like. I will say, I'll stop my slide right here and just tell you that I made this slide at the beginning of the season based on what we normally have. We normally have about 7,000 that will apply to us. This year we have about 7,700 that are applying to us. So we are way up in our applicants this year. So let's shift everything a little bit. Vanderbilt's one of the few schools that screens out who we give secondaries to. And the reason why we screen out who we give a secondary to is because secondaries are $95 for the regular MD program. And in good faith, I can't take secondary money from somebody that I didn't think at the end of the day would like make it through the admissions process. So there is a step for screening for a secondary. Now you'll notice for MD PhD, everybody gets a secondary. The reason why is they do not have a secondary fee. So they're fine with giving everybody a secondary for the program. So the biggest cut comes between for the MD program and also for the MD, who gets a secondary to who gets the interview. So we'll interview about 625 candidates or so to yield our class of 96. That'll be 80 MD, 15 MD PhD, 1 oral surgery student. Our MD PhD program is open to international students with complete funding. Also, Bill mentioned that a minute ago. This is our GPA range for this first year class and our MCAT range for our first year class. So what kind of secondaries do we ask? It's always on our website. These are the current secondaries for this cycle. I will say these are up for renewal this next year. So these might be a little tweaked for next cycle. But if they are, we'll put them on our website because we think y'all should know what we're asking for. So let's talk about what makes somebody competitive for Vanderbilt Med School. And to help you kind of understand the why, in parentheses, I kind of put like, why do we care about these things? So first and foremost, this is not a checklist. We don't have like a, do they have this? Check. Do they have this? Check, check, that kind of thing. It's just more of a holistic review of the candidate, but these are the things that we look at. But because I have it on a slide, I need to have something at the top. We need to see a fire in the belly for a career in medicine. This needs to be evident in your letters of evaluation that people are writing for you, that passion, the why for why medicine. This needs to be in your personal statement in some shape, form, or fashion. Why do you want to do this career path? We're looking for a strong academic history, not because we're trying to be jerks, only take people who have A+s and 528 MCATs or anything like that. We just need to make sure that you are going to excel in medical school here. We look at past evidence for that. Letters of evaluation, if you are like, what do people look at? With that, you can always Google the AAMC letter evaluation guidelines. I'll be real honest with y'all. Being at Hopkins, it's a good thing that you're there because y'all have really good advisors who are on top of their game. But it's kind of a bad thing that you go to Hopkins because I know who your advisors are. And if you don't follow their advice, to me, that sends a message that you don't take advice and don't reach out and get help when you need it. So whatever they're telling you for letters of evaluation, follow and listen, okay? Leadership is important because we want you to be the change in medicine that is so desperately needed. Leadership manifests itself in different ways. You know, you can be president of the XYZ club or treasurer, or you can be the shift leader at McDonald's and teach all the new employees how to use the fry machine or whatever. You know, you can show your leadership in different ways. For Vanderbilt, research is very important to us, okay? We need you to understand the importance that research plays in medicine. So we're going to expect you to have research experience. Medical exposures are also going to be incredibly important for you. Please note that I do not say shadowing hours. And the reason for this is I am first gen low income as an high school student. If I ever wanted to be a doctor, I wouldn't have known anybody to call to say, hey, can I shadow you as you treat patients and stuff? So to me, requiring quote unquote shadowing hours is a barrier to entry to the profession. But I can tell a difference when I'm reviewing a file from somebody who, once again, talking about the fire in the belly for medicine, who has had medical exposures, how they're able to really talk about their place in medicine as a physician versus those students who have not had those experiences. And it sounds more like a seventh grader writing an essay about why they want to be a doctor. So the career reflection you get out of the medical exposure is critical. Service to others, we want to make sure that you can work with a diverse population of people, which you'll be doing as a physician, especially if you train at Vanderbilt. And then at the end of the day, we're going to be teaching you a lot, but we also want to learn from you. So what makes you you? You know, maybe you play the violin, maybe you write calligraphy or make jewelry, or you are in ballet, or you do your cultural dance or whatever. Like what hobbies, what interests do you have that make you you? So when we're looking at a file, we have a lot of just well-rounded applicants. And then we have those applicants that are kind of well-rounded, but sort of pointy, like they've really done a lot of research and been published and stuff, or they are superstar leaders on campus and were the president of this and received like this honorary for leadership at their school or whatever, like they just have those points to them. When we're looking at files, I think a lot of times people think we just want the well-rounded candidate. But here at Vanderbilt, we like you being sort of pointy and having these things that make you you, because it's our goal that all those points will kind of converge to make a well-rounded class. So if you are passionate about something, please do it. Like you're not going to have this chance again to, study abroad and learn a third language and, work with refugees if that's your passion area, like you do as an undergraduate student. So here are some additional tips. Attend any and all school fairs, even if you think, wow, I never would want to go to Vanderbilt. I'm glad that you're listening to the talk because hopefully you're getting some general advice out of this. Rolling admissions is just so critical, and I cannot stress this enough. Early on in the cycle, I have 625 interview spots. And honestly, we're kind of generous with who gets those interview spots early on. But as time goes on, and I'm reviewing files and we're trying to figure out who to interview, I might only have like 30 spots and I've got like 2,000 people that I'm trying to review. And the earlier you apply, the better chance you have of getting admitted. Now, don't sacrifice quality for speed, but don't dilly-daddle getting your application materials in. Be wise about where you're getting your advice from. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a double-edged sword that you're at Hopkins because you have really good advice. You're in a community where you can be engaged, like you can do things in Baltimore. You can there's medical centers nearby. Like there's stuff that you can do. So take advantage of those resources because that's critical. If you have a moment, we've already done our virtual fair for this fall, but in the spring, keep your eyes and ears open for the AANC virtual fair. Because if you attend that, not only do you get to hang out with cool people like me, but you will get a discount code for the MSAR, that's the medical school admissions requirement book. You'll get like a discount for the online key for it. And that is your primary resource for all things medical school. I'm going to sound a little bit like a Debbie Downer here when I say this, but recognize that getting into medical school is a competitive process. And every year we have great folks that don't get admitted. And at the end of the cycle, I can kind of see where people land. And sometimes they don't get in anywhere. And it's not, I mean, it's hard to kind of process that when you're a great applicant and stuff. So make sure you have a parallel plan in place as you go through the application process. Please note this is not a plan B. A plan B kind of sounds like medical school is never going to work for you ever. So you have to do something completely different. It's just one of those things where, hey, I'm going to apply. It's a competitive process. I know I don't have, a significant amount of research, but I really want to go to Vanderbilt. So while my application is being reviewed, I'm going to work on getting more research under my belt or something. So that way, if you have to reapply, there's something positive about your application change. There's no shame in reapplying. Please make sure there are positive changes in your application before you reapply. A couple of additional just tips from me to you on this is that oftentimes I will read a personal statement that I could easily just put my thumb over the word doctor or medicine, and I could use that personal statement for anything. So make sure it's a really compelling, informative personal statement that you're spending your time doing. Before you hit submit, you might want to convert your extracurriculars into a timeline. The software that most of us use for reviewing your application materials will convert your extracurriculars into a timeline. And we just want to make sure there aren't any gaps in where you've been and what you've been doing since you graduated from high school. And then the last, like mom advice to you is get comfortable asking for help. When you get to medical school, you're not going to know all the answers. There are going to be things that come your way and you're like, what's going on here? I want you to feel comfortable getting like academic help, physical help, mental health help, like whatever you need, feel comfortable asking for it. We don't give out any trophies at graduation for people who never used our resources. So make sure that you get comfortable getting help along the way of your journey. So, and then I am going to stop screen share and see your bright faces. So what kind of questions or comments or concerns might you have for me? Sam.
Hi, thank you so much for that talk and your information. Really appreciate it. I had a question about the the free time that you have during your first year, and I was wondering how like students typically use that. Like aside from studying, do people? I know you mentioned we don't want to, or you don't want to have like students do research too much in the first year, but like do people do that? Like do they do research at all? Do they do the shade tree clinic that I think you mentioned? Things like that.
So during the self-directed learning time, they don't usually do shade tree work just because our shade tree runs Tuesday night and all day Saturday, and your self-directed learning is during the afternoons. But they might be an office or an organization and let's get together on Wednesday afternoon to discuss this XYZ that we're planning for our group or something. Some of our students, especially earlier on in the curriculum before we get to like test time, might go back to their apartment to take a nap. I need to go to the grocery store. Only thing in my pantry are saltines and I can't survive on that. So I have to go grocery shopping. Everybody's kind of a little bit different with that on what they do during that time. What I normally see though is groups of students studying in our building using the empty classrooms.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'll get Daniel and then Giselle.
Sure. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. My question is about the MIDP program, the Medical Innovators Program. So, you know, a lot of students at Hopkins are very interested in the intersection of computer science, innovation, medical entrepreneurship with, clinical practice. So I'm curious, with the MIDP program, how does that program work specifically, and how does Vanderbilt cultivate medical innovation and entrepreneurship?
So I think I'll hit like on how we cultivate that. Our chancellor, who kind of is the chancellor of all of us here at Vanderbilt, his buzzword is radical collaboration. So he does not want any of us to be in silos. And that ranges all from like our physicians all the way to like me, like what do I do to promote radical collaboration? Little old me here at Vanderbilt, you know. So that's like a big thing for him. So he's really thrown a lot of resources at what we can do across campus to collaborate and make things stronger and better here. So that's one thing. Like there are all these like internal grants that you can apply for here at Vanderbilt to like do something radical collaboration wise. We also have student organizations outside of the MIDP that are also kind of designed to get you meeting other people across campus. We do kind of hackathons where here's a problem and let's go to it. Where if you elect to drive, the place where you park your car is right next to the engineering building. And then to walk here from there is like maybe 6 minutes, depending how fast you are. So in the engineering building is a facility called the Wondery, and that's kind of the maker space. So they've got like the fancy dancy 3D printers and the CAD software and stuff over there. So one way that we have that is we put like resources to this. It's not just, oh, y'all need to do stuff. Like we give you those tools to do the things. So we also have a very diverse class of students that join us here. So we will have students that, were engineering majors or who worked in R&D for GE Health for a while before coming back to medical school and stuff. So we've got students that just have those life skills and interests and things. And so what does it look like for you? So your first year, you'll get to go to like some of the lunch and learns and problem solving sessions that the MIDP hosts for you. And then your second year, to be really honest with you, you spend most of that time doing your core clerkships. So you don't, I don't want to say you don't have time for MIDP, but that's not your priority then. Your third year, during the research phase, you are going to do a research question that addresses a problem that you can solve. So maybe it is something related to healthcare and a device design thing, or maybe it is a business app that we can bring to market or something like that. We do a lot of collaboration with healthcare leaders and entrepreneurs in the city. In case you didn't know, Nashville is the leader in healthcare, what's the word? Hospital organization, healthcare industry. That's all headquartered here. Like HCA is headquartered here. Community Health is headquartered here in Nashville. So we have those leaders come in and you'll do